Guthrie coming to you from the headquarters at Fort and I want to take this live or some sort of within Facebook. Myself to the command a few weeks ago. If you haven't heard from me before, one, you probably recognize I'm not from this part of the country. I grew up in Alabama. I have 4 children. Second son is a captain in school right now. And then to be here and excited to Readiness Division on a couple of things that dove R34 and Double Eagle 6 and my 5 priorities, and I want to sort of talk and how that's going to sort of guide the priorities that I start to establish for the 88th Readiness Division. So first, people. So people are her number one priority, same as General McConville's for the Army, and the same for me, because people are really about getting ready for the future. I want people to feel like they're a part of my squad, and I really hope that each of you who are in a leadership position because I think it's important as we start to important as we get after the of suicide prevention and racism or extremism is this idea that you're in my squad. Because when you're in my squad, we treat each other with dignity and respect. And finally, it's about continuously learning. With change. And I think one of the ways you become comfortable has this written in her initial message to the force, and I expect you'll see some about helping those within our geographic footprint to build and sustain readiness. And it means that we have to figure out how we measure To me, I was previously was a functional commander, and we all. Uh, Third is modernization, and to cross the finish line on transformation into a readiness division. To work on that, we're going to set out some milestones that'll help us all to understand what called to mobilize or deploy. As I said to the full-time staff, that you are to live in what can be a very kinetic future. Daniels talks about partnerships and reformation, and to me, shaping tomorrow, you know, and I think for us, modernization, which we're already seeing some of, how we fight in the for the future best. And I like to talk about this idea of a new area. I think that's how we do it, is we get something that's meant. I'm excited to be here on the Blue Devil team. New things, and I'm going to get for the first time, which may be Texas. But you know what? I bet you I get through. Now, if you've got any questions, that says there are no questions. Hopefully there are. But hey, you know what? The first time I did some of this over, we started out small, but I have to say by the end, following the weekly messages that I was doing. So we did get we did get some people. I'm going to ask myself a question and sort of see if I can answer it. So when you talk to the full-time, that may impact, the command. So let me sort of always have to see if I can remember it, because I am in a debate, but we'll see if I can get there. So the first aspect and proactive. So I try to do what I believe senior leaders should organization. I will say that there are, and that's when being optimistic comes in. Our own formation and the formations of those that we support, that there's is tap into it, which usually is just ask people how do they do their organization that had a lot of talent. About that during my time there. But again, I think that kind of ties into the. I really believe that being administratively and doing logistics unit that didn't do administrative tasks and didn't do administrative tasks. Able to do those, and really and truly, that's what the training or the readiness divisions bring to the table. A southern word, fixin'. Well, I'm going to forget all five, but I'll just end with the fourth one. And the fourth one is really that and I sincerely mean this as I talk to you, I'm not perfect, and I don't expect you to serve with and alongside. By the way, I think that's the way most people are. That's how most people feel. They want to do their job well. And four of the five, I'll think of the fifth one at some point. Maybe I'll add it. It's kind of funny. Of leadership now for about 30 of them, as I never can remember questions, and so let me see if I can answer. Our mission ahead. So coaching 5 months. And I think at first but then we said stop all movement. We put in certain we granted to be able to travel. We've incorporated The interesting thing about the 88, I know out at our AMSAs and ECSs, almost everyone Army. We found new ways of doing things. Now conference calls have become at the same level as before. In being able to accomplish work. Now, with to be around people, and we miss people. To understand what's going on in the lives of those that you serve alongside, whether or what may be going on with their family members, because it is hard to spend as much time alone as we do. So how does that affect our starting in August is going to start to get back to training. So if it gets back to training, we have to do that socially responsible with the right amount of social distancing, wearing a mask when appropriate. That's just about standards and discipline. I think we but we have protocols when it reaches the appropriate to get closer and closer to being fully open. Slightly less than 10% of our facilities means you can only have a certain percent. Still remain at HPCon Charlie, which means very, very few people can be in the. What I want to tell everyone is we're going to, we're going to do the right thing. Things the right way. We are going to strive to come back together. 19. But in the interim, we're going to continue to do those things that we've learned that are smart. We got a ways to go to get back to normal, but we're taking the initial steps. When it comes to suicide prevention, there seemed to be no real change in the numbers every Army should change their strategy with this issue. What I do know are a couple of things that anytime there is a suicide, prior to me coming to the 88th Readiness Division, there were the use of KPOC, and in both cases, young lives and soon by suicide. Anytime there is a suicide, is there something that could from my previous command, is that there were almost every one of them a non-commissioned officer who recognized something, who indeed did what's on the ACE card. They asked first. I've had to ask that question before, and it's not easy to ask. To the members of our squad to ask if we the right path forward. You know, ask the struggles someone may be having. It's never going to be easy. Soldiers, but that armies have done for years can have a tremendous effect. Folks will say, you know, also believe there are hands and there are eyes. Is frequently what saves lives. And I've got now starting to look at when catch someone. And I know one of the soldiers see something on social bit, but I know there are many of you that those of you who use it a lot and you stay in touch with people that way. I'm not certain the Army has been in, you know, especially aware. This question. We got any more questions? No. just here at home, will the but again, units that sense that the medical Utah has ventilators work that they do at that readiness of the Army Reserve protocol that has to be gone through first to respond or in than we have. Across our nation, much in the future, but I'm sure they will. Hasn't been a role yet. Our job in the 88th to prepare support. You know, means a strong it's going through, it's going through a tough time. To address some of those issues, and is the fact that we're willing to take on six gated graded military. I have a plan, and I think part of they made a decision on is to remove photo or selection boards. I think that's absolutely. About treating each other with dignity and respect. But what's more important that is that our daily actions reflect that, and that not just our peers, but our subordinates. How would you want to be treated? I like others nicely. Again, I'm not perfect. I've had my moments. Sit here and tell anybody that I don't have my moments. And I think you can fill in the blank on what that might be. The level of respect to others if you apologize. And I've done that. I hope I've done it every time. I may not have. I think if we do that, we can address so many of the problems for us. And I would just tell you again, in this, America has a history of adapting that allows us to adapt. There are plenty indications that challenge anyone to find and change the way the United States of America does. And I am proud to be a member of the 88th Look Live. Got this microphone in front of me. Feel like you've learned something about me. You've started to learn what I meant. That has a great reputation and already does. Hopefully, we'll see each other. And again,